Shalom, family. It's me, Vanessa Malave, and you're watching Moving on Faith. And today is Wisdom Wednesdays. So the topic we're going to talk about today is giving. Let's turn to our Bibles. Let's turn in our Bibles to the book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 9. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I am reading out of the ESV. Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 9. Whoever has a bountiful eye will be blessed, for he shares his bread with the poor. So again, today we're talking about giving. So we're going to go through a lot of scriptures that confirm this and what that looks like for a believer, right? And what comes with that, you know? So actually, before we get into it further, I want to just give a really short testimony. So when I was growing up, I was about the age of, I would say, like 4 or 5 years old. And at that time, my family and I, we were in Catholicism, and we would attend the Wednesday evening mass. So we would go to a church, and at that time in the evening, the whole church wasn't filled with people. So they put off the Wednesday night mass over to the side, in a side room extension to the main part of the church. But the church was open. People can come in if they needed to, but we were off to the side. But I did have a view of the entire church, the altar and all that. Okay, so I'm a child. I'm like 4 or 5 years old, and we're in mass. And of course, I don't know what's going on. So I'm just sitting there. And I had one of the most profound experiences of my life. Okay, at 5 years old. Here it goes. So I was there, and I saw a man enter into the church, and he was clearly a homeless man. He was an older gentleman. He was homeless. He wasn't wearing, like, I think he maybe had one shoe, or if he did have shoes on, they were ripped apart because I could see his feet. And his clothes were ragged and just tattered, and he was filthy. And he was very scruffy and just filthy. So he made his way to the front of the church. He didn't bother anybody. He didn't say anything to anybody, but he walked to the front of the church. And as he approached the steps to the altar, he fell to his knees. And I'm a child watching this, so I didn't see what was happening or understood what was happening. But the next thing I saw, he just began sobbing. He began sobbing, and he actually had a piece of, it looked like a loaf of bread, or like a half of loaf of bread, or some type of bread, in his hands, and he lifted up the bread to the altar, and he just sobbed, and he just thanked Yah. I mean, he just thanked him and cried and thanked him, and just gave him thanks. And it was the most profound moment in my life at that time. And then looking back on it now, you know, I was telling my husband recently, I don't know that I have ever been that grateful to Yah, or have expressed my gratitude in that way, because I imagine this man was starving, and he could have just, as soon as he received the bread, he could have just eaten it, but he didn't. He walked from wherever he was, and he made his way to the church, and he made sure to give thanks to Yah before he partook in that food. And clearly it was a big deal to him. Clearly he was starving, because for him to consider that even like a major blessing or a miracle, listen, we take those things for granted every day, not realizing what other people don't have. How many times do we waste water or waste food without even a second thought to it? And this man was sobbing in tears, thanking Yah for a piece of bread. And in that moment, I realized that, you know, Yah blessed him, and I to this day I pray that Yah continued to bless him, because I mean, I never saw someone with such a heart for Yah before. And it was this homeless man, you know. So it was huge. It was huge. And as I grew up, I tried to make it a habit of always like giving. And one thing I never like to do, I never like to talk about the times that I gave, because I don't believe you should. When you're doing community service or when you're helping others, it shouldn't be an opportunity for you to like take a selfie and post it. Look what I'm doing. I'm doing something good. I'm feeding the homeless. I'm helping people. Like, that's not what giving's about. True giving, a true heart to give, doesn't require acknowledgement from others. So when I give, I don't want to be acknowledged for it. Like, I don't want people to know what I've done. I don't want to, you will never see me post anything about me doing those types of things because I don't want the acknowledgement for that. And I tried to think of Hamashiach, right? Christ. Whenever he did a blessing for someone, he told them, don't say anything to anybody. Like, don't tell them who did this. Like, go on your way, but don't say that it was me or who did it. He was the Messiah, and he didn't even want acknowledgement for the miracles that he did. And I think we need to be the same way. So back to the topic at hand, ladies, giving, okay? Let's start off with the fact that it is commanded of us. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 15, and verses 10 through 11. You shall give to him freely, and your heart shall not be grudging when you give to him, because for this the Lord your God will bless you in all your work and in all that you undertake. For there will never cease to be poor in the land. Therefore I command you, you shall open wide your hand to your brother, to the needy, and to the poor in your hand. So first of all, the Father is letting you know there's always going to be poor people. There's always going to be someone who needs something. This is Yah, right? I command you to give freely and unbegrudgingly, right? I command you, not just to your brother, right? But to the needy and to the poor in your land. So you're not just being commanded to give to your family, your brother, your people, the people you know, right? Your friends, your family. You're not just commanded to give to them, but you're commanded to give to the needy, anyone who needs, anyone. That's what we're commanded to do, right? So we have to remember that. A lot of times we get so, I know for me, sometimes I get so wrapped up in wanting to just constantly like minister and just like share the word and try to bring people into Torah that I forget the more important things, like just having a heart for people and really showing empathy and love and kindness and patience and just really exemplifying the fruits of the Spirit. And I try, as we all do, but sometimes we forget, like something as simple as just giving. It really does make a difference. Now, let's really quick. So we need to give, here's the thing, right? Who do we give to? We need to give to those who can't repay us, right? Yah will repay us on their behalf. Okay, so let's prove this. Let's go to book of Proverbs, chapter 19 and verse 17. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to Yah, and he will repay him for his deed. Yah will repay you. This is why he says, do not give begrudgingly. Don't hold back. Like, I don't want to give you my last dollar because it's my last. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Yah will repay you. You will be repaid. Perhaps not in that instant, but you will be repaid. Right? But when, right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 58. And we're going to go to verses 10 through 11. If you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness and your gloom be as the noonday. So again, when you're helping the people who need help, you're feeding the hungry, taking care of the needy, right? Your light, the light of Hamashiach, the Messiah, the light of the Messiah is in you. And that is when it is seen. When you are doing those services, when you are being a servant, okay? And your gloom will be as the noonday. And the Lord will guide you continuously and satisfy your desire in scorched places and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water, whose waters do not fail. Okay? The living waters, right? You will be filled. You will be filled spiritually, right? We're expect, like, when you say that you will be repaid, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to receive monetary replacement for what you've lost. That's not what that's saying. You will receive the spiritual blessings, right? You will be repaid spiritually, which the value of a spiritual blessing far exceeds the value of monetary gain in this world, or any type of material upgrade. It far exceeds that. Okay, so let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 14, verses 13 through 14. But when you give a feast, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed, because they cannot repay you. For you will be repaid at the resurrection of the just. So when will you be repaid? Like I said, it might not be instantly. You might not be repaid tomorrow. However, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the just. Live your life justly, and there will come a time when you will receive and you will reap those returned blessings. Okay? Now let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 9. And so this is actually called the cheerful giver. We're going to read verses 6 through 15. The point is this: whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for Yah loves a cheerful giver, right? So don't be forced to give. You should want to give. It should be in your spirit to give. Yah gives freely. Hamashiach gives freely. We are to be like Yah. We are to be like Hamashiach. So we must give freely and without reservation. And be joyful about it. Be happy to bless someone else. You've received blessings. Be happy to bless someone else and have that opportunity to do so. And Yah is able to make all grace abound to you, so that having all sufficiency in all things at all times, you may abound in every good work. Yah will bless you. When you bless others, He will bless you. You will have an abundance, right? An abundance is not simply what you need, but more than what you need. Excess, extra, what's remaining, abundance. Yitro, which is actually the Torah portion word for last week. So I just remembered that. And as it is written, He has distributed freely. He has given to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. So this is actually, for those of you who like to go back and check things, when it says as it is written in the New Testament, it's because they are reading from the Old Testament, because the New Testament hadn't been written yet. Shocker. So if you want to reference that, you can go to the book of Psalms chapter 112 verse 9 to reference that particular scripture in verse 9. Verse 10. He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness. So Yah, who gives us food, who gives us what we need, who takes care of us, as you give, He will continue to give to you. He will continue to multiply your blessings, your righteousness. Okay? You will be enriched in every way, to be generous in every way. So He will give you an abundance so that you can continue to bless and to give and to help others. So you don't even need to worry about what you're going to give someone, because He's going to continue blessing you to the point where you have that excess and abundance that you are able to give and able to bless and help others, which through us will produce thanksgiving to Yah. Right? So as we give, it then places it in the heart of those who receive to now bless and honor and glorify Yah, which is what we should be doing, right? We should be bringing people to Him. everyone should be glorifying him. The more people we can get to glorify him, the better. That is what he deserves, and that is what he wants from us. For the ministry of this service is not only supplying the needs of the saints, but it is also overflowing in many thanksgivings to Yah. So not only are you taking care of those in need, right? But you are now also, again, being that light and being a representative of Yah. So much so that people glorify his name because of the blessings that he allowed you to minister to them. By their approval of this service, they will glorify Yah because of your submission that comes from your confession of the gospel of HaMashiach and the generosity of your contribution for them and for all others, while they long for you and pray for you because of the surpassing grace of Yah upon you. Thanks be to Yah for his inexpressible gift. It is a gift that was given to us that we may give to others, right? This is how you love your brethren. This is how you love your enemy. You care for them. You give. And it's, you don't take the money with you when you go. You don't take your belongings with you when you go. Giving proves your obedience to Yah, and it results in the receiver praising Yah and glorifying him and his son HaMashiach for the gifts that he has allowed you to give. Nothing you have belongs to you. Nothing you have you attained on your own. It was all given to you by Yah. And as it was given to you freely, you must give freely. With that being said, ladies, I hope you enjoyed this Wisdom Wednesday portion. I hope you feel inspired to give. I know I do. And I hope that together we can all just help other people, man. Love other people, care for other people, be empathetic for other people. This is going to bring people to Yah. This is going to bring people to HaMashiach. This is what we need to be doing. Okay? Have a heart of love. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Shalom.